Hello and welcome to the Roast Recap. If you are watching this, I am dead and my enemies have killed me. Or this is a compilation of the week's top stories. I forget which video I'm recording. So let's cut to Mark Humphries or a photo of me with the Ken Burns effect.
Family First, the party that's produced such respected political figures as Steve Fielding, has had their new Senator Bob Day make his first speech in Parliament. There were the usual suspects in the Senate to witness the maiden speech. Some guy, some other guy, Santa Claus. But who is Bob Day? No, that's Bob Jane.
Bob Day, Senate.
That's Bob Day. And what side of politics does he sit on?
Mr. President, I'm a Conservative. Family First is a Conservative party. To paraphrase Oscar Wilde, only progressives become old-fashioned, Conservatives are always in fashion.
It's at this point I should remind you that Bob and Family First are opposed to same-sex marriage. I think Bob will be hard-pressed to find an Oscar Wilde quote to support that view. So let's see what a man who quotes a 19th century playwright has to say about education.
And whilst education has become society's mantra, forcing young people to stay on to Year 12 when they're clearly not enjoying it is both foolish and wrong.
Translation, to hell with school. Turns out Bob Day doesn't just look like Ferris Bueller, he thinks like him too. But school isn't the only youthful thing Bob's concerned about. He also wants to tackle youth unemployment.
But given the clear emergency that now exists with respect to youth unemployment, the time has surely come to allow young people who want to opt out of the workplace regulation system and allow them to work at rates of pay and under terms and conditions which they consider are best for them.
Translation, to hell with the minimum wage. So Bob's idea is uneducated youths being able to work for below minimum wage. If that sounds like it might not work, don't worry, Bob's done the research.
And what percentage of employers exploit young people anyway? Is it 1%, 5%? 10%?
I don't know, Bob. It's your idea. Seems like it's family first, fact check last. Coles, the supermarket that would kill Woolworths with its own giant red hands if it had the chance, is reportedly cutting 600 jobs. I'll tell you what's down. Employee morale. Coles will reportedly make the redundancies as part of a bid to free up funds to help reduce food and liquor prices. So to anyone forced to leave their job at Coles, I know a cheap place you can go to drown your sorrows. Coles. And finally, Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt have wed in France. It was reportedly a small affair with only 30 of their children attending. For the roast, I'm Mark Humphries.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. I love Brangelina. Much better than a previous relationship, Brangy Bob Thornton. Well, this week, the Renewable Energy Target Review was published, and it pretty much said that the RET is working fine, but that we should drop it in favour of using more of that newfangled technology, coal. But if coal were to become defunct, would it be such a bad thing? I mean, other industries have come and gone, so why not dirty power? Jazz Twemlow had this report.
These are the remains of a penny-farthing factory. The penny-farthing was originally designed by someone who wanted to make a bicycle that looked like half of it was really far away. Eventually, this warped circus transport died out, and the workers began making normal bicycles because we realised that cycling 10 feet off the ground is ridiculous. Ah, the poor, humble typewriter, dead as well. And who cares? Is anyone complaining? Poor typewriter industry, I'm so sorry it died off and now all I have to use is this massively convenient, magic, inkless keyboard. I really miss having to throw away a whole page when I make one mistake. And finally, coal, which we began using around 3500 BC, which means that for 5 millennia, the main idea we've stuck to when it comes to energy is find rock, burn rock. But why go out of our way to stifle a better idea? Solar power looks awesome, it has the added advantage that you don't have to dig underneath a mountain to find sunshine, and it doesn't get more expensive the more people use it. Energy production is the only aspect of our lives we're fighting to keep outdated, despite it looking more and more ridiculous. Do you have any idea how weird it is to power an iPad with a fossil? Coal burning is the penny farthing of energy generation, and we're all sitting on top of it looking like a massive twat. For the roast, I'm Jazz Twemlow.
Have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight? Are you Michael Keaton's Batman? Why did you make Jack Frost? We'd love to hear about it at the Roast TV or hashtag RoastTV.
Turning now from a dying industry to the industry that helps you support yourself before you die, superannuation, where increases in the rate have been delayed, which, according to the Chief Executive of Industry Super Australia, means a 25-year-old on average earnings over their working life could retire with $100,000 less, which is pretty worrying for any Gen Y person who wants to wear name-brand adult diapers in their autumn years. Nick Richardson didn't agree though. He is happy wearing generics.
Oh, big whoop, Tom. If you're anything like me, you'll plan to die at 27, like Jimi Hendrix, Jim Morrison and Jimmy Joplin. I don't need to worry about my future self. Yeah, you do, younger, equally handsome me. I need that 100K. I have 7 kids whose love I need to continually buy. Not anymore. Okay, though in future I'd appreciate some warning before you murder my offspring.
Yeah, come on, present day, Nick. Maybe just put a bit of money into super.
Oh, fine, I'll try. Hey, look at me. Moving on up. Yeah, this feels good. There's almost $17 in here. In fact, no, I remember what I do with that money. Tom, I've saved long enough. Time to reward myself for all my hard saving with 17 coffees from 7-Eleven.
Shit. Yeah, poor future Nick. Well, although he doesn't have much money in super now, he will be working until he's 70, so he'll have a lot more time to save it and a lot less time to spend it. That being said, I'm wondering how future Tom's going, because I've been saving too. All right, Tommy, show yourself. Future Tom? Sorry, my arm's a bit tingly. And who's burning that toast? Oh, God. Oh, no, Clive Palmer was right. I'm the 50%.
122 coffees from 7-Eleven.
Turns out I wasn't that 50%, I was the other 50%. I was just experiencing a hysterical pregnancy. But speaking of 50-50, that is almost the gender breakdown of gamers. And yet female playable characters are not particularly prevalent in the industry. The Roast's game review show Great Game had more.
Next up, we're reviewing gaming culture.
Ah, yes. Now, there's been a lot of backlash against gaming culture recently, with many people saying the experience is sexist.
Yeah, so let's start with the early levels.
You start as a newbie gamer, new to gaming culture, combating individual comments like the logic of how feminists target predominantly male spaces is very similar to the pattern of locust swarms.
Now, playing as a rational human being, your self-esteem will cop quite a hit.
Yes, I found this frustrating at first, and to be honest, I felt tempted to disengage almost immediately.
And the plot continues the same way as your experience level increases, and you move on to gaming journalism.
In this level, you explore the link between discussing misogyny in gaming and the barrage of rape and death threats.
Personally, I found those parts quite difficult to maneuver around emotionally.
We found things like these tweets particularly troubling. So troubling, in fact, that some players, like Anita Sarkeesian, said she contacted police and felt compelled to leave her home.
And since you're provided with no armour or weaponry, the only option for your character is to go AFK and then AFH. The H stands for how.
Yeah, it's weird how in a higher level where you draw attention to sexism and misogyny in the gaming industry, then you're attacked by enemies from the same forums in level 1. It's a major bug in gaming culture that I hope will get removed in future releases, as it really did hinder my enjoyment.
Interestingly, it was the final boss level where we had the most trouble, that being the industry itself. Here you managed to make it past the forum trolls and the death threats and actually make it into the industry, only to be told by the makers of Assassin's Creed that they had to cut the female assassins from the co-op mode because it's double the animations, double the voices, all that stuff, double the visual assets. I guess that's because female visual assets are harder to animate than a whale, an exploding ship, or an entire city.
Maybe Assassin's Creed could learn from GTA 5, where there are lots of female voices and female characters.
They're actually prostitutes.
Oh, that's right. GTA 5 didn't enable you to play as a woman.
Which felt like a weird limitation, particularly seeing as they bothered to make it possible to play as a dog. I guess the hardest thing about these boss levels is that the boss fails to even acknowledge that the female character exists.
Yeah, it's not so much a battle as just women shouting into the void, which just became a repetitive game mechanic.
And disheartening. As such, we've decided to give gaming culture a very dissatisfactory 0 chance of change until people stop getting death threats when they try and do something about it, out of 10 rubber chickens.
Yeah, let's hope the coming iterations score a little better.
Well, that's it. If no one else is prepared to design a game for women, I'm going to do it myself. It'll be hugely popular and I can make millions of dollars. Night, everyone. Okay, what do women look like? All I know is she's sexy and some sort of archaeologist, like Indiana Jones, but richer and with smaller shorts. No, bigger shorts. Yeah, no, smaller shorts. I was right the first time. Trust your instincts, Glasson. Okay, so she steals things from underground crypts, but what kinds of things? What are ladies like that you could get in the catacombs? Handbag, really old handbags. Yeah, no, she'll figure it out. She's resourceful. And she has tiny shorts, and that's critical. That's what it's all about. I'm going to call this Steely the Cave Lady.